De vuile hond. Café de vuile hond. Eerst een korte nieuwsflash voor zij die de voorbije week op een andere planeet hebben doorgebracht. Onlangs verscheen in Hoboken, in een van de donkere tunnels van Fort 8, vanuit het niets een wonderbaarlijke, letterlijk misplaatste bruine kroeg. Eigenlijk hebben we hier te maken met een kopie van een kroeg. En een weinig exacte kopie om heel precies te zijn.
So I didn't really have a concept or a specific project when I came here. Before I came here, the only thing was that I had two problems in writing. And the first problem was that I'm very slow, very slow. And it's because I'm very critical about every sentence that I write. I reread it and then I erase it. And I want to be quicker and more fluent in this writing practice. And my second problem was that most of the things I write are with a certain goal, like they're critiques for magazines, or and I wanted to find like an own voice, or I don't know, or write more personal stuff, or this was my plan before I came here, but then I had two things that I had to write. One thing was I have to write an article about Kees Verdonk. He is a visual artist who made a garden piece in a museum in Hasselt. This was for a magazine, and the other thing I had to write were a couple of songs for a composer, and we're working together on a music theater piece based on a graphic novel by Chris Ware. It's called Jimmy Corrigan, the Smartest Kid on Earth, and in thinking about it and in working on it, we decided that I had to begin to write texts that could be the texts of songs, and texts that are based on this graphic novel, on this material that is in this novel, and he then would make music on these texts. So normally I had to finish this before I came here, but I couldn't finish it, and so most of the time I was busy with those two texts. But for yesterday there was a presentation, and then I made a personal text. So this was my first problem that I solved a bit. My second problem, so this more personal tone. And the first problem I dealt with the last days, and it was I wanted to write very much, and so go a bit artificially against my normal habits, and to not read what I just wrote, but like keep on writing and writing and writing, and then when I'm really empty about a certain subject that I randomly quickly choose, I reread the text, and then I discovered, of course, that a lot of what I wrote was very shitty, and but for me it was good to try to write on and on and on and on and on, and the text I presented yesterday was based on one of these shitty texts, but there was like a nucleus of, I thought, interesting material, and then I worked further on it, and and then it was something.
So what was the text about?
It was about Café de Veulenhond, so this cafe who is installed here, and it was in fact my interpretation of this cafe. Like the main thing was that it's displaced. It's a cafe that is displaced like spatially because it's not in a normal building but in a tunnel, and it's displaced, and we as a public or as clients, we are displaced because normally we wouldn't go to this kind of cafes that are more like popular cafes, and yeah, it was a bit my interpretation about this cosmopolitic young artist community in this setting of a this setting of popular cafe, popular bar. Yeah, that's it.
It's also reflected the workshop, it's site specific.
Yeah, it's site specific. Yeah, and now I got a bit the taste of doing this, and yeah, I really want to do it for Saturday for the final presentations, to write a new text, and that is also site specific about. It's a bit vague right now about this building and this, the strangeness of like this spatiality, space that you cannot like. You keep on getting lost in this building, and so. But I still have to write these songs, and I still have to finish this article. So I don't know if I will find it time, but I would love to.
Who is your audience? Are you making it for your own, for the wider public?
I think, yeah, it's because I write different kinds of texts, I have different audiences in my head.
I mean, just focus on the workshop right now.
Yeah. First audience is myself. I write for myself. And because it's experiments, and I want to develop something on my own, but for this specific text that I presented yesterday, it was of course for this specific audience of people who are working here. Stupid was that I did it in Dutch and not in English, because there's a lot of international people here, but yeah, my English is not so well developed. So.
And how do you represent your work?
Yeah, I wanted to have it read, because if you just like make a text and put it on the table, or nobody reads it in this context where there's like a bit of a party atmosphere. So I really wanted to have it read, and but I'm not a performer, or I cannot speak easily in front of a public, so I asked somebody else who is working here, and he is an actor, so he read the text in front of the public with a microphone. There was a light, and it was in this tunnel on the stage, on a small stage where the concerts are normally. And you had the cafe on the background, so it was nice because it was describing the cafe also in a specific way. And then for the people who didn't know Café de Veulenhond, who were like external public, yeah, they could link it easily.
Is there any goal that you want to reach at the end of the workshop?
At the end of the workshop, yeah, I would love to write more fluently and quickly in the near future. So after this workshop, after that I have experimented with this writing on and on and on, and a bit monologue intérieur, or like something that is, you're not criticizing yourself all the time or cutting yourself down. You're like just putting it on the paper, and I hope that this way of writing will help me in the future.
And what do you think about the whole workshop?
Is it a workshop actually, or for me it's not a?
It's the name of the happening that's going on here.
I think this place is amazing, or that this thing is happening is quite exceptional or unique. I think because it's during a quite a long period, a month. It's far away from the city, so yeah, people come and go, but some of the people really stay here for the whole month or for a few weeks. You're not distracted by a lot of cafes in the neighborhood or by a lot of events around. You just have like this fortress, and you're with like people from your own generation who are sometimes coming from different countries, working in different disciplines, having different ideas, different backgrounds, and yeah, for me it's important to have like your personal atelier where you can work and you have the time to work and develop it, but as important for me is this place as a meeting place where you can exchange ideas and forms, and I think it's very valuable and duurzaam, how do you say it in English? I think in the long run this really means something. I think people who are meeting, I hope, I don't know exactly, but I think people who are meeting right now, some of them will cooperate in the future maybe, and then, so.
That's what I would like to ask you. Do you
if I personally
yes.
would cooperate with people
in this workshop or mostly after the workshop?
Maybe not as a job, as really like a cooperation from January 1st to February 30th, and I don't know, something very concrete, but I think there's a kind of scene developing, and there's people like Simon and Nicola and Barbara, Stefanie, of course, and Joseph, and all these people. They keep going and watching each other's pieces and each other's work, and sometimes they work for each other as a light designer or as dramaturge or as a yeah.
Yes, but they are from the same field, like from the theater world.
Yeah.
And, do you see any chance to cooperate with a completely different field?
Yeah, but in their own work, they're not like completely. It's not only theater that they're making. I think, yeah, you could say Josef is a scenographer, but he's a visual artist. He's a public artist. He's Simon. His work has a lot to do with social contexts but he also makes theater pieces out in the open, in the woods. So I would not say that these people are making only theater or are only busy with theater. I think in their work there are these kind of strangers I was talking about before you filmed me. Like people who just wander in different contexts, in an institutional landscape, in different disciplines, different institutional contexts, and so on. So